Hi, my name is Deanna Smith, the founder of DAC Lifestyles, and I would like to invite you to be a guest on my show. We're here to bring inspiration, motivation, education, and share information with people. DAC Lifestyles. DAC Lifestyles.
I'm Jessica Winnie. I'm a 6th grade teacher in Hopkins, also a mother of 6, and I just released my second poetry book, which is entitled Everything I Am. It's available on Amazon. Poetry, that's what I'm up to.
My name is Nakara White. I'm also known as Solo Star. I'm a lyricist from the Twin Cities. I'm also a youth worker and advocate. So.
Awesome. Now these ladies, did their introduction, but that does not tell you at all who they are because they are so deeper than that. I'm gonna start with Nakara. Did I say it right?
You did. I knew you was gonna start with me.
Because I'm so excited about her Deep End Challenge. I can't even sit back and relax. You share with us about your Deep End Challenge, and then I'll just add in and fill in because we have a new partnership that's starting this year, this summer. Not only me and Nakira working together, we got other partners as well that she doesn't know about yet, but we're bringing the community together to support her and her idea, and it's going to be big. So I'm going to let her talk about it.
Yeah, so just a little bit of backstory. I just released an EP titled Love Hangover. It's available on all platforms, just about relationships and the aftermath of coming up out of a failed relationship. One of the songs on my project is called Deep End, and it's about the parallels between Black women and girls not knowing how to swim and unhealthy relationships and what that looks like. And so we're starting this thing in partnership called the Deep End Challenge, teaching young women and girls how to swim. And in addition to that, having a part of the session be candid discussion about relationships and standards, and hopefully having young girls avoid some of the pitfalls that we've been through. So,
tell me what you see as the relation between like learning how to love and falling in love and learning how to swim and maybe falling in the water. I don't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of times young girls, young Black women specifically, are out here drowning emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because they have no guidance, they have no instruction. And so just really applying the principles that you learn in swimming and treading the water to relationships, I think that's going to be really dope. I
think it is dope. I just get excited thinking about it and writing about it because we're writing grants, we're seeking funding right now. So I just get excited just putting it together, and in my mind I'm just blown away at, not only the parallels, but just, it just touches so much for our community. Now, number one is saving lives through learning how to swim and drowning rate for our community is higher than any other community.
Yeah, for sure.
Number two, yes, being a person of color, you have so many issues that you deal with, and when you talk about falling in love and taking the chances and self-care and self-love, that's what I got from what you were just saying, is that we're missing that in our community, like really building ourselves up, really having a foundation for being and for loving and for just existing, so I get so excited, and not only that, it talks about swimming and aquatics, so it's going to be fun, it's going to be great. And all of you will be involved and you will hear information. So I think we're going to start with a smaller pilot group, and then it's going to be something that's going to happen like forever.
And then I called it a challenge because I really wanted to go viral. I don't want it to just stay in the Twin Cities. I want people to be challenged to do it where they are as well. Like, it's a big deal. People say Black girls don't swim, and that's not true. We got Miss Deanna, she's a whole coach. So just breaking that stigma and learning and healing in the process.
Yes. It's interesting. Nikki Giovanni writes about the misdemeanor that Africans didn't swim.
Right.
And that, before coming here, we were fishermen, hunters, but all the stuff that we did along the shore, and the fact that when the slave ships did leave Africa, people jumped off and swam back to shore, in hopes. And so we do swim. And then swimming through segregation changed the pattern of how and where we were able to swim at. So it's a wonderful challenge.
Yes, it's all about access. especially for our community.
Definitely.
And swimming and aquatics is just one of those disparities. And, one of
And
those
also the
things.
lifeguard program that you do is a wonderful thing too. So giving, young men, young women this opportunity to go out and get some economics,
That's right.
Some financial stability, learn a skill that can save lives. So
It's all a full circle. It's like the big picture, the whole picture, not only giving back to our community through healing and resources, but also provide opportunities to learn a skill, provide opportunities to get a job, make some money, and then surround them with other mentors who have ideas and connections as well. So that's why I'm just really excited about her challenge. And I thought it would be perfect to have both of you on here today because you guys really remind me of each other. Because Jessica, she's so deep. I'm gonna give you a real quick story about Jessica. We kind of grew up together, but our kids kind of grew up together. They act like they don't know each other now. But back in the day, like spring breaks, we had like Martin Luther King Day off. Jessica, she's a teacher, right? So we would all bring our kids to Jessica's house, and she would have a whole day of learning for them. They did a whole play on Rosa Parks, and her mind and how she deals with not only our youth and adults, and her mind around education and history is just amazing to me. And how she's so motivating and so spiritual, and how she could be, I'm not sure, are you still Muslim?
I am not, but I believe I'm a believer, and so.
Right, so how she could be Muslim and Christian and Buddhist and all at the same time. It's kind of all the things we talk about when we talk about religion and being spiritual, and how do we pull from all religions, all spiritualities, and what is spirituality really? But we'll talk about that later. So Mrs. Jessica, tell us about your book, Everything I Am, and that project.
Everything I Am is the last 10 years of poetry that I have written. It covers so many different aspects that all of humanity can relate to. So intimacy, healing, losing people, losing loved ones. And a lot of my writing comes and inspired from my own stories, but also people that I come in contact with, and the ability to hear what they have to say or be inspired by it, and then sit down and write things that are going on in society. I write a lot about Black love, Black power, Black economics, because outside of us needing to hear that, mainstream needs to hear that as well. It has, one of the wonderful parts about the book for me is that as much as it is about my poetry, it is also about a collective collaboration with other artists. And so one of my students, his name is Jesus Arangure, he illustrated about 10 drawings in the book. And one of my girlfriend's daughter, Aislinn Mayfield, she illustrated 2 of the illustrations. So it is about bringing all these genres of art into this beautiful project that came about.
Chills around here.
So that is Everything I Am. I have it with me. Yeah. My nephew also did the cover, so his name is Akil Elamine. He's with Counterspace Galleries, and Everything I Am is just, I decided to use the phases of the moon because every day is something new and different. It's my lows, my highs, my north, my south, my west, my east in here. And then the pink moon, I went and researched, and it is the night that the phase of the moon, the evening that I was born. So everything has intent and purpose. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So deep. I have so many questions
I even like
for
how
you.
you did this.
This backward. He's in charge of that. Yep.
That's dope.
So yeah.
I have so many questions for Miss Jessica. Not only did I read some poetry out of her book, the first piece that I read blew me away. I was just like, oh my gosh, because it takes you to a whole other place, gets you thinking not only about yourself and life and everything that you're dealing with. It's just, there's different ways of dealing with stuff, and poetry is a good way for some, and I just like how you get all that out. But really I want to know is, who published your book, and how do you start with an idea and then have a product?
I am fortunate that this is my second book, but I self-published the book myself, and it is a long process.
Is it expensive?
It is. I haven't kept track of the financials like I should, because I have the receipt somewhere, but for me it wasn't about the money necessarily. But once you are finished with your writing, it's more about getting the editing, the formatting, what is your cover gonna look like. And then I went through Amazon, and so it's available on Amazon. You can go and quick print whatever copies that you need. Eventually, I hope to find a printer locally that I could get a better price, honestly, than Amazon. But for the moment, that is what it was. It took me, when I finished the writing, 2 years before the publishing got done. And long nights of headaches and saving and resaving and yeah, as you know with your
well,
project.
real quick, if you're a printer, you better get at us and Miss Jessica, because this is hot. This is gonna be big. But I want to know what it took for you to because the hard part is just no matter what, is continue on your journey. You see this end goal, like all the things you went through to actually get over that hump and make it happen. Because I know that once you have something good in mind and once you're headed towards something, there's so many forces, so many things that come against you. And I know you have the same experience. What do you think it took for you? Like, how can you help somebody else who might be going through it or struggling or has this big dream or this goal ahead of them and there's everything coming at them to keep them from that? What would be your advice to them?
Go ahead. Because we probably have different stories. Oh, okay. For both of us.
You know, I would say that whenever you're birthing a gift, it's important to remember that the devil is going to try to get in the way of that. His goal is to steal, kill, and destroy. And so with that in mind, you have to be willing to go through some things to see that thing birthed out. So it's not going to be sweet, especially if it's something that's going to touch a lot of people. It's supposed to be difficult because it's bigger than you.
Hey, listen, this is why I do this show, because this is actually my couch time. You don't even know it. But I receive so much from the words that my guests speak to me because they are so deep, and I'm glad that we pick the best people to be on here that have that spiritual connection, because I think that's where it starts, number one, is you got to have faith in something.
For sure.
Right? So, and I love your answer. Go ahead.
As well as building on faith, and even the devil we know is always everywhere around us. The idea that to have the courage to follow through on something that's important to you, to take the time, life can distract you, pull you in different directions. There's temptations, but everybody has a gift, everyone has a passion, and taking that and pushing through, getting to the fulfillment, being able to hold your EP and it's done. It's just a feeling of not only proud for yourself, but it's vulnerable because you're sharing so much, a piece of yourself, definitely. Everything I am is not only about who I am, it's also through reading. I hope people can find out everything you are. Right. We all have our stories.
That's what it's about, really.
It is what that is about. In art in general, it's gonna speak to you differently. You could read something, that moves you some way. You read it, it might turn you off, turn you on, or push you to get through something else. So that's the beauty of art in general. All those degrees of it and how we fit in.
Yes, because that's why I said I'm an artist. I don't know what kind of artist though. Actually, I do like to dance. I dance. You
do dance. We have danced together many times.
Yes. I'm not gonna talk about that though.
Okay, not that house party. Really, that one. The way you smile, soothing in a way, like a breeze on a humid southern day. My beats in your heart, your rhythm in my soul, casting all expectations aside. See what you find when happiness crosses back and forth across the threshold, looking into the mirror as it all unfolds. Words come out so easily. Comfort fills the space once shared with loneliness that could only call on despair. Now running fingers through soft, silky hair, oils soaking their way through into the lifeline of your skin. Imagine the companion. Come, take a ride on this ship. Nothing left but time, no point in holding back. Take a chance on the possibilities. Let this occasion slow grind into the audacity. Watching you, watching me, I go there to escape reality, to be on the simple side of things, even though we both can't see. Still aware of the scenery, beyond the place where crave, found, covet, remain nameless, endure until love is not just another word muttered, but a cocoon intertwined where endearment conceives and wings open up wide, lips flutter, souls fly away bewitched in this butter. If all I can do is right, then I freely commit to do what comes naturally, give all of my mind, let this interlude be my temperance, and let my pen do the time. There is only one me.
Now we're gonna get personal, okay? So, tell me your relationship status on Facebook. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, my Facebook is reckless right
Well,
now.
we ain't talking about Facebook. We're talking about the real world
No,
now.
I'm just talking about the way that I discuss my relationship status on Facebook is kind of hilarious to me. People don't know where I'm at, but
And they shouldn't.
they
Right.
shouldn't,
They shouldn't.
right? I'm single and I'm mingling. I'm having a good time. I'm putting me first.
Yes.
It's a joy.
Yes, it is. How about Jess?
It is. I'm single as well. I was married for 19 years. I was recently engaged, and then I came to a space where I said I had to rewind and be okay with doing what makes me happy, falling in love with myself, being in love with me
That's where
every
it
day.
starts. Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Okay. So, what do you think it takes to have a successful relationship?
I think if I knew I would be in one, I'm learning it.
Right.
How many snaps?
1,000
I think
snaps.
what I'm mastering is being in a successful relationship with myself,
Yes.
and I will attract what it is I deserve based on that.
Say that.
You drop the mic. Oh,
Right,
gosh. I'm
exactly.
gonna need you to come home with me, girl. I got a new best friend. I'm gonna call her tonight.
Call me, girl.
We have so many like desires and different things that we're all looking for, as well as whatever mate that you're dealing with. I don't think that there is, I have learned that there is not one person for everyone, for my story. And falling in love is great, and those moments of being in love is great. Loving is great, but there's different levels to it. And everyone, you know, I enjoy Italian food, you don't, so I'm supposed to stop eating Italian. Like, there is sacrifice, there is communication, like all
About
those
bubbles,
things.
though?
Those
My
bubbles,
goodness.
though. Yeah. There's a poem in my book called Bubbles, and
Okay.
so it is about.
I'm looking around like,
Yeah, no, they might be in here. There's a poem about dipping your wand in and blowing, and all the relationships and the bubbles coming back in, and the ones that pop right away, and the ones you cannot shake off your wand, even if you want
Yeah,
to, they're
yeah.
not going anywhere.
Wow.
What you say?
We have a little inside bubbles joke, and at any time
I
we
need
can.
the book.
Yes.
I need to be in
Yes,
tune.
you.
Yes. At any time you can dip your wand back in and blow again,
Yeah.
like that space for opportunity, that space for your own freedoms. What do you need?
Yeah.
You know, put the top on.
That's right.
And
I
put 'em
think
to the
we
side,
all,
so.
I think as people, we know, like what you said when you first talked about it. We know that we maybe, I'm not, okay, I'm not gonna talk about me right now.
Right. We getting interviewed. Uh-huh.
Wow. You're not gonna talk about me right now. You do that off camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, what was I saying?
Your relationship, though, we're not gonna go to that
We're
one.
not gonna go
but
to my
within
situation.
relationships,
That we know that we have to build ourselves up first, and that sometimes we're not in successful relationships or we're not in relationships because we're not ready.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 42 and I'm like, I really want to be ready for a relationship, but obviously I'm not, right? Because it's not working.
Yeah.
And then when trying to have a relationship, yeah, you always try to figure out where I fit in, and you don't want to have to change who you are to
Right.
fit into that relationship. So sometimes I would think maybe it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
and then as little girls, or at least for my own self, I feel like we were always bred to, like, you're gonna get married, you're gonna
Yeah.
be this, whatever, you know, this fairy tale.
Right.
And since a little, you know, you were given a doll at what age? You know,
Right.
you weren't given a microphone. I wasn't
Right.
given a pencil.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Right.
as you continue, like, the nature versus nurture, and now here we are, even in your 20s, 30s, all your needs change over time.
Right.
And right.
I feel like some people may feel like they're unsuccessful because they're not in a relationship, or they feel like they're doing something wrong, or they should feel bad about themselves because they're not in a relationship, or we reach 40, or we reach 50, and we still haven't been married, or we're not in a successful relationship. What do you feel about? How do you feel about that?
I think that we all have our own time to continue to develop relationships. You know, I had a high school sweetheart. I thought I was going to be married my entire life, and then different things happened. And I had to literally get myself out of that black hole. And writing did that for me. It was a way to deal with depression. It was a way to just clear my space. It was a way to, you know, when my grandfather died, I could sit down and pour all this out onto paper. And so even like with relationships, you have to pour all of that into you first, like you spoke of. Like, how can we be good to others when we're not good to ourselves first, you know? Looking in the mirror, loving who you see, and not having to be validated, a man validates you or a woman validates you, whatever relationship that you choose to be in. And that self-validation has to be
That's what
the
it is
center.
right there, that self-validation. And when you talk about self-validation, when you talk about helping the community, what is one thing that you would do or one thing that we could do to really help the community? If there was one thing that you would do to help develop the community or lift up the community, what would it be?
I will continue to educate. I think it starts with the youth. I do teach 6th grade. I love teaching poetry just because it gives them an opportunity to express themselves, to be whoever they want to be within that paper. And also I think we have to start teaching our children more about their history.
Definitely.
And I don't think that, you know, when they see us, a lot of kids never have even heard about the Central Park 5 or I was in a space the other day and they were watching parts about Emmett Till in a room full of young people who never even had heard about him.
Right.
And so the history books only get...
How do we, and then an idea popped in my head too in regards to making sure that we're always connecting our youth to the history, is that at every event and at everything that we do, that there has to be some type of history component to that. Maybe. That's a possibility. What do you think? What's one thing that you would do to help the community?
I don't know. I think whenever you're being your authentic self, you're helping the community. You know, but when you first asked the question, the things that came to mind were love and accountability.
Love and accountability. So how do so you were saying that individually in your everyday walk with each individual person that you come in contact with.
Love them and hold them accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. We got us another Igbo over here.
Okay.
You know,
And then too, like...
wise beyond her years.
Right. Loving and, you know, holding yourself accountable too.
Absolutely.
You know, yes.
It starts with self.
It does.
For sure.
I talk about, you know, supporting Black economics and the idea that we have to be okay not going to Starbucks to get our coffee. We have to be okay making, you know, there is a Black-owned liquor store in St. Paul. Everybody should be getting their liquor there.
Yeah.
And if it takes you wasting some gas, if it takes you a 20-minute, you know, trip in traffic, be okay with that. Be uncomfortable with that space so that when you get there.
Let's hear about this liquor store in St. Paul. Where is it? What's the name of it? We can start with that. Where?
It's on Selby. I believe it is called Selby Wine and Spirits. Yep, right on the corner.
Selby Wine and Spirits.
And they have been there for years.
Though.
Yeah, me neither.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Today.
Right. But I stopped over there. Someone told me about it from St. Paul, a friend of mine, and I said, let me go get the party liquor from them, you know, and was able to talk to him. The gentleman that was there, wonderful. I think it's his husband and wife. But here they are. They've been there. And he is the only Black-owned, and that's a whole nother issue. Like, how is there only one liquor store that's Black-owned in this state of the Jim Crow North? You know, so...
Yeah,
it's not that.
That's a whole nother
show.
Ain't it?
Yeah.
But we write about it. I don't know what you know in your works, how you bring in Black power or Black love, or if you even do that when you're doing your writing or your new album.
I just speak about my personal experiences. I think that's something that's lacking in rap and hip hop is people talking about what they actually live and go through. So many people are telling other people's narratives or talking about what they think people want to hear instead of talking about what they've actually gone through. And it shows, and the people don't connect the same if you were speaking about what you actually knew.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a part of that. It's not always super intentional talking about Black power or trying to be extra conscious, but
it is who you are.
It is who I am, and it's going to come out regardless because I'm being me.
Right.
What I love about these two is that they work with the youth. You know what I mean? So all these ideas and their spirit and all the information they're sharing with our young people, who will then share it with other people. But Jess, I have a question for you.
All right.
Okay, so this is, in Minnesota, it's a big deal being of mixed race,
Okay.
right? So share with us, like, what are some of the things you struggle with coming up?
So I grew up over north. My mother, I lived in Oakland when I was younger. My mother was always considered, my mother was and is a revolutionary. She was born in Missouri. She is Caucasian. The last time I saw my father, I was 3 years old. And, but she always raised me amongst my community. So she was the only one of 2 white women that lived on our block. The other one lived on the way opposite end. She always made me feel fine wherever I was. I think more problems or more issues came from society, how I thought they were looking or viewing me. And I think one of the biggest troubles I probably is that because she taught me the Negro spiritual, she taught me freedom songs, she taught me about Black history, that I didn't feel safe around other white people. And I still don't, and I'm okay with that. But she always made sure that I knew who I was, and not just as a race, you know, but as a young woman as well. And so those things.
Do you feel like there are a lot of mixed race youth that are struggling with being mixed race in Minnesota?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. And you have to think about too, some, you know, Black children are being not just mixed children, but adopted into different families or in foster care and in different spaces that their identity might be a struggle. And I think that growing up mixed or biracial, whatever title or tag that we want to put on it, it depends like where you're raised. I would have a very different experience being raised in an Edina, as you mentioned earlier, or being raised out in Elk River or somewhere that, you know. So I thank her for like having me in the heart of the community because that, you know.
And she raised, a real one, huh?
She did her best.
I love my Jessica.
She did her best with what she could, you know. Single mother. My mother graduated from college when she was like 35, so we always have a joke like, you always want your children to do better than you. And so I graduated when I was like 34. So we always tease like, I beat you by a year, you know. So, yep. Yeah.
Never pictured drowning in your love, lounging in your love, no makeup and weave out, miss you when you leave out, love you when you return, rub you till my hands burn, chemistry like no perm, naturally I had to be the boss of things, Capricorn, casually you let responsibility fall all on me, wanted you to lead, needed you to be HNIC, walk it like you talk it, make me wanna act submissively, man it's water deep, I ain't feeling it, I ain't feeling safe, you watching me fall, you letting us sink deeper every day. You knew I couldn't swim when you met me. I wasn't trying to get my hair wet, but you sweat me off my feet, told me you got me. It was meant to be, blah, blah, blah. Now my feet can't reach, left me in the deep end. You left me in the deep end. We're drowning in the deep end. Yes. Look. This feels like my father leaving all over again. It was 96. I was barely 6. Made me promises and broke them just like you. Told me he would teach me how to swim. Didn't, just like you. Tall, handsome, and funny. A disappointment. Just like you. I've been needing him. No wonder I've been looking for you. My heart got some holes. I loved you with the healthiest parts. I know I ain't perfect. I warned you about all of my scars. You knew that I couldn't swim when you met me. I wasn't trying to get my hair wet, but you sweat me off my feet. Told me you got me, it was meant to be, blah, blah, blah. Now my feet can't reach, left me in the deep end. You left me in the deep end. We're drowning in the deep end.
If you had one life lesson that you would share to help others, what would it be?
A life lesson.
We're gonna go with Nakira for Nakira. Wow.
You know what? You can just call me Solo.
Solo style.
That's what everybody calls me.
I can't get that wrong. I can't get that right. Solo style.
Something that works for me is like, and maybe it's a Capricorn thing. I don't like to be checked. I don't like to be told what I already know. So I'm constantly.
Might be a Black woman thing.
I'm constantly checking myself. You know, I'm constantly being willing to say, how could I have done that better? Was I wrong? You know, how was I wrong? What could I have done to help somebody else? So just taking self-inventory consistently.
Self-inventory.
Self-inventory.
I like it.
Me too. I think the biggest or a life lesson that's a hard one, Deanna. Because I feel like even at my age now, that I'm still learning. There's still things that I
So
need
at
to
this
be
point in life,
constantly.
because
If I had to
somebody-
look back,
Yeah, at this point.
I
the
would
one
say I'm going to go to education. And, you know, I went to nail school, quit, went to hair school, quit. And so, like, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, but trying to dibble and dabble in all these other things. And so, like, knowing early what you love to do and go and pursue those passions.
That's right. Stay
know.
focused, right? I've done the same thing. I've dabbled in everything.
Yeah. And you have to find what, you know, what your thing is, but in doing that, like, be consistent, you know?
I think something to add, especially for Black women, is be kind to yourself. And this is coming from, I'm my biggest critic, that self-inventory is a double-edged sword. Be kind to yourself. Be good to you.
Hey, so we need those reminders for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, $5. $500 in the bank or in your pocket today?
In the bank,
In the bank. Why?
because that cash gonna go so quick.
Gone.
So quick. And I'm the type of person be like, oh, you got a problem? What you need? No.
Right.
I do not
giver.
need it on hand. I ain't gonna have nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say in the pocket because I think
You
that
don't
my
trust
sis-
the bank?
No, right. I need to put my money in a
under my
Black-owned bank, but right. Because I'm good at saving, and so I would gladly take $500 right now and go have a good day somewhere
Right.
to myself.
Yeah.
Go get a massage, get my nails, get my feet done. Go grab something to eat.
Some self-care.
Splurge it on myself.
That's
some more
right.
self-care.
I love it. Okay, casket or cremation?
Cremation for
Why?
me. We have a family cabin about 2 hours, my great-great-grandparents, and we have a place that we call the sanctuary, and so all of my relatives have their ashes scattered there. And so I think out of tradition,
Yeah.
that's where there will be. I know my children will visit this space as they continue to get older. Even now, you have to walk about a mile into the woods, and just being like on our land, knowing that, okay, my mother's ashes are here somewhere with us or back into the earth where
Right.
we came from anyways, is important.
I think before you say your answer, I think it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to even think about that because you got to think about death, and that's a whole nother show. You know, you got to think about death, and then what does that really look like? But okay, what do you think?
Probably cremation.
Really?
I don't think I would want to. The idea of my body being in the ground, even though it's a shell, is kind of traumatic for me. I don't know. But then
In a
also
box,
thinking
right?
about being burnt up, it's like,
The
can I just
beauty
live
is
forever?
right.
Either way, you're probably not
Right.
gonna.
Either way, you won't know.
You
You'll
won't
be gone.
know,
Right.
but I mean, I guess in terms of your family, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
the people you're leaving behind, do you
Right.
want them to be able to carry a little piece of you with them, or do you want them to have to be tied to a gravesite? I guess in that regard, I would prefer to be cremated.
See, all the new, that's just new age stuff right here.
And nowadays they have
tradition.
that new biodegradable. You can be a tree. They have some new thing. You could,
Be a tree.
all of your ashes will go into some whatever that's biodegradable with a seed that you could grow into. So there's lots of options, I think.
They are. All right. So we gotta make sure you write those wills and.
And that's one else thing that's lacking. When we talk about self-care and families, like, do you have a will? I don't.
I've been meaning to write
Right.
one since
We-
my
I've been
best friend
working on that
passed
for
and
years. I'm
That's
telling
another
you every
conversation.
year, where's
Yeah.
your will at? Yes.
Or
Okay.
things
I feel
about-
like I don't got enough stuff to be writing a will. You
Right.
know,
Because you
like
have children yet?
I had a son. He passed away.
Okay.
But
sorry. That's hard.
no, I feel like that's for the wealthy, and maybe that's a myth. Maybe that's
I
a
think that's a myth.
misconception.
It's- yeah.
But it seems like when you have more assets is when you would have a will.
Right.
But even just for people to know your intentions and what you want
Right.
for even your funeral, or whether you want to be cremated or
Yeah.
buried, those
Well, let's
things
talk
need to be
about
written
finances.
down.
What about
Life insurance policies. That's one
insurance.
more thing missing.
life
that,
insurance?
You
What
know,
about retirement?
all of those things.
Yeah, we got to get on our financial game. We got to get Miss Holly back around. We got to get a workshop or something together. But you know what? I feel like workshops may scare people away. There has to be a new way to bring people together and give them good information.
Well, when you talked about like building community earlier, here's a prime example of things that are lacking, right? Along with the swimming, you know,
Right.
business literacy,
Yes.
you know,
But-
all of those things.
How do you get people to show up?
Food,
Food. Ding, ding,
gift
ding.
cards. These
All right.
grants are a good opportunity to make people feel like they're getting something. You almost have to trick people into learning.
You do have to trick people into learning,
It's
which
sad,
is crazy.
but yeah.
Yeah. Or we need a new Martin Luther King or something, right?
Or you always, you know, there's always that you want something in return. Like here, this information isn't enough for you. Although this information that you're getting will bless you, you could bless somebody else with
But
it.
we like that immediate gratification. We like to, you know, do the things that, you know, that we can see and feel right now. Forget planning for their future. Anything else you want to get off your chest before you bless us with your words, your song, your poetry?
Just thankful to be here with you. It's wonderful that you are doing this with us, meeting you.
You guys are beautiful people. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
You know, the best part about this is having like my own personal couch time, really.
Right.
And then hopefully that help other people, like other people have the same ideas in their head or questions, and
Right.
you know, and then that we can all learn and build from it. That's
Right.
what it's about.
Or just to be inspiring, you know, inspire others. We all have stories,
Exactly,
and like
exactly.
we don't tell them enough,
Right,
you know.
exactly.
So giving a space to share your stories and tell them often is important.
Yes. Solo Star, you got anything you want to say to your fans out there?
Listen to my EP. It's it's really good. It's on all platforms. Yeah, follow me on Instagram, The Solo Star, THEE Solo Star. Follow my YouTube channel. Stay in tune with me. I'm doing kind of
Some
big
big
things.
stuff. Look out for that Deep End Challenge.
Yes,
man.
for sure, for
And
sure.
everything I am with Jessica Winnie.
I'll be on.
Hello, beautiful people. It's Deanna Smith with DAC Lifestyles. It's all about healthy lifestyles, all about making the right choices. And today we're in the pool. We're teaching some lessons. We would like to invite you to join us. If you don't know how to swim, or if you know how to swim a little bit and you want to get better, hit us up 763-222-4992. 763-222-4992. Sign up today and swim away. DAC Lifestyles. DAC Lifestyles. DAC Lifestyles. DAC Lifestyles.